Hello class, my name is Chad Patterson. This assignment is for our leadership theory class. The assignment was to pick an individual and to just do a leadership briefing on them. So who I chose was Mohandas or Mahatma Gandhi. But before I actually get into the presentation, I can see how small the screen is in my video, so I do want to apologize for that. I did try to hook up my TV to the actual presentation, but the lighting and the glare was so bad that I felt like this was my best option. So what I'll do is I'll actually upload the PowerPoint along with my video so y'all can follow along if y'all want to. So with that being said, I am speaking about Mahatma Gandhi today. What I'll be going over is a little bit about his background, his personality traits, his leadership style, a few of his accomplishments, and why I actually chose him to speak about today. So Gandhi was actually born in India in 1869. His father was a prominent political figure, and his mother was a deeply religious Hindu woman. He was the youngest of four, and at age 13, he actually had an arranged marriage to a lady named Kastruba, and them together had four sons of their own. In 1887, at the age of 18, he actually left to go to London to study law. And during that time frame, he actually experienced some racial discrimination. Some issues came up where it made him start down the path of who Gandhi ended up becoming. And I'll give you an example. He was on a train in London, and he actually had a first class ticket, and they tried to push him back to the third class, and he refused, and so they actually threw him off the train. So he realized that there was major gaps in the system and that people were being mistreated, and he realized he had to come up with an actual solution to those problems that they were facing. So with that being said, in a few years later, he actually returned to South Africa, where he started working in an Indian law firm. But with that being said, though, people know him as Mahatma Gandhi, but he was born Mohandas Gandhi. Mahatma basically took 2 years later, and it basically means great soul. This is an actual quote that I saw on LinkedIn, and I thought that it wrapped up and it gave a great summary of who Gandhi was as a person. So I'm going to read it to y'all. And then I'll start going over his personality traits and his accomplishments from that point. It says, Gandhi was a man of great character. He always favored truth and honesty. He condemned violence, kept away from materialistic desires, and walked a path of high moral. He was a celebrity who was recognized worldwide and yet remained unaffected by the limelight. He maintained a life of simplicity and discipline. That just gives a great idea, a great picture of who he was while he walked this earth. He believed in putting emphasis on meditation and mindfulness. He believed that peace was his greatest weapon, and that love could solve any issues that our world faced. He also believed that through love, honesty, and mindfulness, he believed that the world could be a much better place. But he also focused his followers, his people. He raised their consciousness, or he raised their awareness to make them realize that anything could be accomplished if they could actually work together as one for one common goal. So I guess you could say that also what he believed in is what we would call the law of attraction, and he believed that we're capable of accomplishing anything that our heart desires. We just had to believe in it. But in the same sense, he also believed that we had to have forgiveness and forgiving those around us and forgiving ourselves, because it washed out the negativity in life, and that lifted the burden so you could actually become and accomplish great things in this life, basically. So with that being said, he was actually a transformational leader, And according to the definition of transformational leader, those are people that are inspirational, trustworthy, charismatic, role models who lead by example. Basically, he believed in himself and those around him. He inspired the uninspired and possessed three key traits that I felt were necessary to be a transformational leader, and those are connection, humility, and empowerment. And how he did that is he actually lived, dressed, and ate in poverty on a daily basis. He always felt like he needed to be on the same level of his followers so they didn't feel disrespected, they didn't feel like he was above them. And because of that, it kept an open-mindedness to him for ideas to approach the issues that they were facing. He motivated the people and opened their eyes. He taught them that by working together, loving each other and their enemies, and giving their best efforts for a common goal, real change could happen. So, with that being said, he always stayed humble as a leader, and he had a personal connection with all of his followers. And nobody looked at him like he was this God that they could barely touch. Like, he was with the people, walked with the people, fasted with the people, marched with the people. He was there right beside them for the liberation of their actual country. So, with that being said, these are a few of his accomplishments that he achieved while he was here. The first one would be the Salt March in 1930. That was basically a 24-day, 240-mile march that brought awareness to the British Salt Act of 1892, and it prohibited Indians from collecting or selling salt, basically. So that was one of his accomplishments. He did a 21-day fast also that helped solve the issues that the Muslims and the Hindus were facing at the time. And of course, his greatest accomplishment was the liberation of India. And that's what he's mainly known for. He's mainly known for his savior of his country. And it says, for every accomplishment made by Gandhi was achieved by peaceful protest, fast, and other non-violent means. So, with that being said, why I actually chose him as my leader, I just feel like the world that we live in today, it's full of, it's in dire need of change, and I believe that our world is lost, and it's because everywhere we turn we see negativity and violence and hate. And if I feel like if we could see the world through his eyes and how he approached any change that wanted to come about, that our world would be so much better of a place to live in. But he showed love and understanding in everything he did, and peace was his greatest weapon. He was conscious of all mankind and not only liberated his people, but he influenced other transformational leaders like Martin Luther King. And I just believe that if we could step back from all the chaos of this world and look inside ourselves, and we would realize that the solution to all our problems come from within. Gandhi understood this, and he was a man well above his time, and he was one of the wisest men to ever walk on our earth. Besides that, the last slide is basically just some references I got, but that's basically a summary of why I chose Gandhi. I went over a little bit of his background, some of his personality traits, his leadership style, his accomplishments, and why I picked him. Please comment below on the video if you have any questions. Thank y'all. Have a good night.